I was turning 40 and I was working actually full-time in a church. I was leading music and I just was not happy at all doing that. I had always done music. I was a music major in college and that was something that had come very easy to me, but just kind of 20 years in, it was just not fulfilling anymore. And I'd always wanted to have a restaurant, but my culinary skills are very limited, and I don't know, I was always, I guess, a little bit afraid. But by the time I had turned 40, I said, all right, I'm probably about halfway done here with life, and if I'm going to be doing something the next half of my life, I want it to be something kind of on my terms. And so anyway, I walked away from my job. I had no idea what I was going to do. I thought it was going to be something in food. It was about a decade before that. My wife and I and our kids had taken a trip to Nashville for the weekend to see her brother, who was living there at the time. And we went to this small little kind of hole-in-the-wall shop called Las Paletas in Nashville. It's pretty well known now, but then it was just kind of getting started. It's a shop that's owned by two sisters from Mexico, and I wouldn't say that what they're doing is exactly like what we're doing in Steel City, but it was really inspiring anyway. I mean, they were very creative. They were, serving flavors that I'd never thought about or heard of before, certain fruits, and they used hibiscus flowers to make pops and things like that. And so anyway, just we saw that maybe 10 years before we started Steel City, but just kind of cataloged that away. I'm kind of one of these folks that anywhere I go, I'm just kind of taking in ideas and just kind of putting them in the back of my mind, like, hey, that may be a good business idea someday. I thought about Magic City Pops, which is also a nickname for Birmingham, because Steel City Pops is kind of a lesser known nickname for Birmingham, and that's why I landed on that name. But I was kind of thinking about maybe a nod to the Mexican roots of Paletas, which is, it's not really what we do, but gourmet pops in general. That was kind of the Las Paletas inspiration from Nashville for me. I think that probably the only people that didn't think I was crazy was me and my wife. I think even my parents thought I was a little bit crazy, but they were very supportive. Actually, my mom helped me early on in the kitchen create flavors. We've always cooked together since I was a little boy. And so she helped me a lot, just kind of get my hands around how to make pops. But I think everybody just, even when we were under construction in Homewood, me and my sons and a friend of mine, we basically did all the construction ourselves. If we didn't need a trade like an electrician or a plumber or HVAC, we pretty much were doing it ourselves. We framed the store, we sheetrocked, we painted, everything. And so during that time, when you're building something in a neighborhood like Homewood, you have the doors open, and you just have this steady stream of people every day that's coming by just saying, hey, what are y'all opening up? They just want to know what's down the street for me. And I would tell them, and they would say, so what else are you going to be serving? Then no, just pops and some bottled water, and we'll sell t-shirts too. They're like, good luck. I don't think anybody before we opened thought we would be in business longer than 3 to 6 months. I think one of the harder things for us as we started our business was there was no one else around that I could talk to that had done this before. I didn't have a connection that had a pop shop in New Orleans or Atlanta or something like that. So I didn't have a lot of resources of people that I could lean on. And so we were kind of, I guess creating the wheel, so to speak, with our business in the early days, because it's not something that a lot of people were doing, and certainly no one that I knew that was doing. And so I think that was the hardest thing. It's just there was not a manual, and so we had to be really inventive. We had to make, and we really were pressed into making the right decisions, whether we knew they were right or not, because we didn't have a lot of resources to be able to make mistakes. So the reason I chose Pops, well, there are several reasons. One of them is I'm not a very good cook, and I thought that this was something that I could get my hands around. Now I do love desserts also, and so that was a driving factor there. I like sweets, I like to cook sweets, so like if I'm making something at the house, my wife will do like the salad and the entree, but then I'll do like a banana pudding or a pie or a cake or pops or whatever it is. I mean, like, I love sweets, and I feel like I make sweets well. And so that. I knew I wanted something like that was a sweet thing. And then just my limitations in the kitchen, I think, as I was looking at my business period, like I really had to play to my strengths and I had to minimize my weaknesses. I really thought that Steel City, when I was putting my business plan together, I thought that it was going to be like just this huge thing with vending carts all over the place. And I initially was not going to build a store in a popular location because that's very expensive real estate. Initially, I was going to just go into a warehouse district, put a kitchen in, and just vend out of that and not even have a retail store or a place where people could go and sit and hang out. I decided to go ahead with a retail store, and if I had not done that, we would have been out of business in maybe 2 months because Birmingham is not a vending city. And I thought that, we do a lot of vending here, but like you can't make a living vending here. And so anyway, that was one of those things that it was kind of an accident really, or just kind of a little add-on, like, hey, maybe we'll make a little bit more money making our kitchen nicer. And that really is the decision. And I didn't know it. It wasn't because I was smart about it. It was just kind of an accident. But that was the decision that made Steel City in my mind what it is. This destination. And then we realized, we can build more of these, and it'll be a place where people can come. So that was almost a mistake. That would have been really catastrophic, but it didn't turn out that way. Another charity that we spend a lot of time talking about at Steel City, and that we partnered with from the beginning, is Never Thirst. What Never Thirst does is they provide water wells, hand washing stations, water purification filters. They do this through the local church. So they will go to India and they will find a solid local church, and they will do a well or a filter or something like that through that local church. What we did is we created a bottle of water. It's called Provide Water, and we actually created the logo and the labeling, and we get it filled. And we did this from the very beginning. That is to be sold, and we pay 70 cents per unit of water, and we sell it for $2. So $1.30. 100% of the profit from that goes to clean water wells. And as of probably August of last year, the donations to Never Thirst had gone over $150,000. Obviously God is sovereign over everything in our lives, and for us, we feel like He's completely sovereign over our business. There have been so many things about Steel City. Again, looking back, it was a crazy idea. There's no reason that we should be successful. And I see a lot of people with better ideas than ours, maybe better products than ours, better logos than ours, that don't succeed in business. And so there is always this just intangible that's out there that is that can only be explained through the hand of God. And I do know that my wife and kids, they pray for our business every single morning. There have been so many times when I've really wanted something to work out a certain way. I really want this lease in Tuscaloosa or whatever it is, and it doesn't happen the way that I want. I'm so frustrated. I'm down. I'm thinking, gosh, that this really was the best thing for our business. And then I look 6 months later and I'm thinking, we would have probably gone out of business if we had opened a store in Tuscaloosa 6 months ago. But I didn't know that. I think the funnest thing about Steel City Pops is just starting something that did not exist at all. From coming up with a name, from me designing a logo, from them putting a business plan together, helping an architect design the interiors the way that we wanted, from building the first shop with our own hands, and multiple shops after that the same way. I think just seeing that, and then now knowing that in a couple of weeks we're going to open our 21st store, and seeing like how big it's gotten, and then just all the people that have come through, that have gotten on board with our vision and our company. So I think building something to this point has been very satisfying, knowing that it was just an idea, and now it's a real thing. But hands down, in my mind, the most important thing about Steel City is the people that work there. We have really amazing people, and but the most fun thing has just been building something from nothing. I think it's a real sense of accomplishment. It's been a lot of fun. My family is very proud of me, and that is a really great feeling. And so I think that's very satisfying.